Welcome back to our channel. Were you aware that Soul Train, the renowned show that shaped a whole generation, was permanently cancelled due to a single, memorable scene? Fans were devastated, and this moment changed the course of television history. The infamous performance that led to Soul Train's demise and the ensuing chaos behind the scenes will be recounted here. Black youth culture was introduced to America every Saturday morning for an hour through the 35-year-old Soul Train tradition. Was the place where new dance and music genres, as well as fashions for hair and clothes, were first introduced. From its beginnings in the 1970s until the 1980s, it was an essential venue for black musicians to promote themselves. By the 1990s, a number of acts had gained national notice as a result. It was a medium through which popular culture taught the masses how to dance, dress, and listen to music. Beneath the enchantment, glittering lights, and captivating music, Soul Train was revolutionary in its depiction of black identity. It was founded in reaction to a racist media and a racist culture in general during a time of extreme upheaval and suffering, when economic hardship continued despite the civil rights movement's advancements. Soul Train's theme is centered on black empowerment and is delivered in a cheerful, seemingly casual way. Fan favorite Soul Train performer Louis Skeeker describes how his generation was defined by the music and dancing. As someone of mixed black and Mexican ancestry, I grew up in the streets of Inglewood, where Saturday mornings meant getting together with my people to celebrate our own dances, eras, and trends. Don Cornelius served as Soul Train's official host and executive producer. Both the underreporting of police brutality and the overreporting of black crime annoyed Cornelius. Additionally, there is a desire to change how African Americans are portrayed in the media. Cornelius wanted to see good and accurate representations of African Americans in the media, so he was inspired to develop thoughts for his own TV show by the hour-long segment on the ABC network show American Bandstand that showcased teenagers dancing to the newest music. While Cornelius sought for talent, local teens lined up outside the network facility every day after school, hoping to get their turn on screen. In addition to addressing the stark underrepresentation, Black Chicago was given access to a show that sought to promote the range of black talent. You're right on schedule for a beautiful Soul Train ride. Welcome aboard. In 1971, the show had its national debut with a bold and vibrant new set that complemented the new setting and the theme. Soon, the request to join Soul Train came from the musicians, not the other way around. Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder, who even improvised a new song for the event, were among the well-known performers in their heyday. The regular appearances of the Jackson 5 increased the show's star power. During the early days of filming, artists would lip-sync their hits. However, Don Cornelius realized that the show's live performances were what made it engaging and enjoyable. Consequently, amazing things happened. As in the case of Barry White conducting a 40-piece orchestra or Al Green's amazing performance despite having a damaged arm. James Brown, wearing a bright purple outfit, went so far as to join the dancers on stage. In the years that followed, Cornelius showed non-black performers incredible elegance, enabling soulful performers like David Bowie and Elton John to take the stage. For many dancers and performers, Soul Train had a significant influence on their life. Soul Train was very intimate for me, as famed dancer Jeffrey Daniel put it once. It was the catalyst for my entire career, but more significantly, it embodied the spirit of the youth of Black America. On and off camera, Cornelius ensured that black talent was emboldened by the show. To guarantee that individuals of color have access to chances, he assembled a team of black experts from throughout the production. Pam Brown, who was in charge of booking talent for the performance, would seek out dancers with distinctive techniques in recreation facilities around Los Angeles. It was the daring and inventive dancing styles that originated in California that impressed and, at times, astonished Cornelius. In a flash, he assembled a group of talented dancers who were known for their individuality and style. Soul dancers may have looked glamorous, but they really had it tough. 2 shows on Saturday and 2 more on Sunday were recorded by the dancers, making up a full month's worth of episodes in only one weekend. They needed to be very energetic, bring lots of different clothes, and have a lot of stamina. Unless they performed with an artist, they were not paid. The show's stated goal of promoting black talent made this defect seem out of place. The Soul Train line was a memorable and iconic aspect of the program. During the second season, a new section was added where dancers would line up in 2 rows, forming a channel in the center, and then couple up to show off their moves. The line became the showstopper because it gave every dancer a chance to shine. On the Soul Train line, each dancer received personalized attention, in contrast to group dances where there was often competition for camera time. A lot of the dancers took advantage of the spotlight by grabbing attention with acrobatic skills, props, or unique flair. An unforgettable and adored part of the show, the Soul Train line went beyond being a simple dance routine, it became a cultural phenomenon in its own right. It was a flawless encapsulation of the passion, originality, and charisma that characterized Soul Train's prime. Soul Train's impact on dancing is one of its enduring legacies. The presentation did more than display current fashions, it actually created them. Ticking and wiking dance techniques that would go on to inspire voguing, breakdancing, and hip-hop. After learning the backslide, which Michael Jackson rechristened the moonwalk from dancer Jeffrey Daniel, Michael Jackson himself picked up the now iconic robot routine from the program. Everything began on Soul Train with these moves, which would go on to define whole periods of popular culture. Soul Train dancer Jeffrey Daniel reflected on the program's impact on his life. "I saw black youths my age dancing and looking amazing. Before that, the only times we appeared on television, we were either being pursued by the police, peddling narcotics, or in a ridiculous comedy. Ever since then, being a part of that program has been my ultimate goal in life." Soul Train's clothing was just as iconic as the show's dance routines. Vibrant colors, daring patterns, and innovative styles were worn by the dancers and performers, who became easily identifiable. Soul Train popularized black fashion in the United States, introducing styles like as dashikis, bell-bottoms, platform shoes, and medallions. According to Jeffrey Daniel, the show's clothing was a wonderful representation of the time because it was casual, vibrant, and expressive. Black performers were frequently marginalized or stigmatized in the media prior to Soul Train. The play turned that story around, highlighting the talents of young black individuals and offering a dynamic, positive portrayal of black Americans. In order to ensure that people of color had opportunities in every facet of production, the show's creator and presenter, Don Cornelius, put together a cast of black actors and actresses. Soul Train also broke down racial barriers for Asian performers like Cheryl Song. Cheryl was a pillar of the show for 14 years, even if her colleagues were skeptical at first. Her experience exemplified how Soul Train has maintained its commitment to its original goal of highlighting black brilliance while also celebrating diversity. Soul Train didn't take a stand on politics, but it did reflect the victories and defeats of its day. Battles over school segregation and increasing inner-city poverty marked a tumultuous era in America during the 1970s. Soul Train's upbeat and proud messages stood out against this setting. Black history figures like Phyllis Wheatley and Harriet Tubman were highlighted in segments like Soul Train's Scramble Board. The show's collaboration with Afro Sheen, a haircare brand owned by black people, furthered the cause of natural black beauty. Soul Train furthered the notion that black people are beautiful by broadcasting advertisements using Afro Sheen and endorsing natural hairstyles. Here we are at the part where everyone will be thrilled: Soul Train's spectacular performances. Naturally, the beginning is the greatest place to begin. Gladys Knight and the Pips were the featured guests for the inaugural episode that aired nationally on October 2, 1971. Don Cornelius's enthusiastic introduction to the band, along with the music itself, helped cement their performance as an iconic one. In his characteristically enthusiastic baritone voice, he described the quartet as a formidable mountain of soul for stunning individuals. Soul Train would go on to leave a tremendous history, and that moment laid the groundwork for it. The 1973 performance of Dancing Machine by a young Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 at Soul Train was one of the most iconic moments in the show's history. Their performance on Soul Train further elevated the already classic music to superstar status. It reached number 2 on the pop charts and topped the earthy R&B charts. Michael debuted the now iconic robot dance during this performance. Witnessing the king of pop expertly perform the robot dance was an eye-opening experience that solidified its place in pop culture. This performance exemplifies the correct way to complete the move, even if many have tried it before. Very cool, very accurate, and very interesting. When the iconic trio LaBelle performed Lady Marmalade on Soul Train in December 1975, it injected the show with a whole new level of excitement. It was more than just music, it made a statement. Sarah Dash, Nona Hendrix, and Patti LaBelle almost invented Afrofuturism on the Soul Train stage with their metallic futuristic attire, shocking the audience. Both the concert and music history will never be the same thanks to their daring approach and infectious, funk-filled smash tune. Soul Train could only pull off that kind of moment when fashion, music, and art all came together. One such outstanding moment was Al Green's performance in 1974. Al Green, a 27-year-old musician, stunned the audience with his natural talent and charisma while singing live, in contrast to the show's usual singers who lip-sync. Green, who performed while adorned in neon platform shoes and carrying a long-stemmed rose in one hand, exuded an aura of spiritual vitality and irresistible charisma. His 7 minutes of what can only be characterized as sacred sex appeal had the audience spellbound. Soul Train was classified as an experience rather than a music presentation because of this type of performance. Another groundbreaking move by Soul Train was inviting white performers to appear, which was unusual at the time. David Bowie's performance on November 4, 1975, was one such instance. Unfortunately, Bowie's anxiety got the better of him. Because he hadn't committed the lyrics to memory. His performances were so rocky that they required multiple re-recordings. In spite of the rough beginnings, Bowie's appearance represented the show's increasing impact and readiness to challenge societal norms. According to legend, Don Cornelius had an offstage, honest chat with Bowie in which he reminded him that Soul Train would not tolerate mediocrity. Soul Train also had an end, as all good things do. Its last farewell made a lot of fans unhappy, while others pondered the rationale behind its cessation. The music industry began to undergo changes as Soul Train ventured into the 1980s and beyond. Hip-hop was quickly becoming the dominating genre, and with it came performances that the show's more conservative viewers found unsettling. The now famous 1989 Milli Vanilli concert was one such instance. They were the first big European rap stars, and Don Cornelius introduced them. But it came to light a few months later that the two hadn't actually performed any original music. They pretended to lip-sync. Soul Train's reputation took a hit due to this controversy. In 1975, David Bowie had another performance that sparked controversy. The quirky, boundary-pushing London singer got up jittery and drunk, fumbling through his vocals and requiring several takes to finish his set. Reportedly, behind the scenes, perfectionist Don Cornelius was irritated with Bowie. Soul Train's carefully crafted reputation started to crumble in the face of these incidents. Even behind the scenes, the show had its share of problems. Because several dancers felt their work was undervalued, tensions were rising between producers and the dancers. Many Soul Train dancers were underpaid despite being the show's lifeblood, coming up with classic movements and establishing trends. As a result, tensions rose, and some valued cast members left. Soul Train also had trouble attracting A-list performers when the music industry changed. As rival networks such as BT and MTV gained traction, many artists chose to perform on these more contemporary channels that appealed to the growing hip-hop demographic. Soul Train's failure to adapt to changing times was a major obstacle. There was a sea change in style, music, and popular culture by the mid-1980s. Soul Train may have been revolutionary in the 70s, but by the 80s, it had become stale. Shows with a more contemporary take on hip-hop and urban culture were more popular with younger viewers. Soul Train's longtime creative director Don Cornelius had trouble relating to the new music trend. He notably refused to incorporate hip-hop into the program because he didn't get it. Soul Train felt alienated from its former fan base as a result of this gulf. Viewers stopped tuning in as these problems piled up. Soul Train's longtime viewers reminisced, but they no longer made it a habit to watch the show. Shows that felt more authentic to their life were drawing in younger viewers. Soul Train was losing the enchantment that had made it a Saturday morning tradition for many. It was a tough decision, but Don Cornelius stepped aside as host in 1993. Love, Peace, and Soul, his last album, was a fitting farewell. The role of Cornelius has been expanded beyond that of a mere host. To put it simply, he was the program's lifeblood. When he departed, there was a hole that nobody could replace. Even if his successors did their best, Soul Train just wasn't the same without him. Even more fundamentally, Cornelius's departure brought attention to a problem. He had a vision for Soul Train. The program floundered for plot points in his absence. The program's original enthusiasm started to fade as the crew dealt with increasing difficulties behind the scenes. It became apparent in the mid-2000s that Soul Train was unable to remain competitive. After 35 years on television, the show quietly ended in 2006 with its last episode. The loss devastated fans, and many pondered the demise of an iconic phenomenon. Soul Train was a source of joy and inspiration for millions of viewers from its 1970 launch until its 2006 finale. Its legacy is unparalleled even in this day and age. Soul Train had an incredible cultural impact, and many people think no other show has ever been able to match it. Soul Train is still talked about by fans with a lot of affection and fond memories. It was more than a show, it was a way of life, one admirer said online. As someone else put it, listening to Soul Train brought a sense of national pride to me. It was the one spot where we could really shine, and everyone adored our music and our abilities. These moving remarks demonstrate the magnitude of the show's impact. Soul Train's unique selling point was the unity it fostered. The performances by superstars like Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, and Aretha Franklin weren't the only attraction. The vitality of the program and the happiness it offered to each spectator were the main points. Everyone felt like they were a part of something monumental and important thanks to the show. An emblem of this solidarity emerged with the Soul Train series. An inclusive dancing floor where everyone, regardless of background or identity, could let loose and show off their best moves. Soul Train was so successful that no other show has come close to matching it since it ended. It was about more than just dance and shows. The theme was happiness, pride, and solidarity. During an era when such platforms were uncommon, it provided a platform for Black dancers and artists to be recognized and valued. There will never be a Soul Train 2.0, as one devoted fan put it. There has never been a show like it before. Soul Train's demise emptied the television and music industries of a vital component. There have been subsequent attempts by newer performances to recreate the magic, but all have failed. Don Cornelius's magnetic personality, the groundbreaking acting, and the heartfelt enthusiasm of the presentation are priceless. From today's music videos to the latest dance trends seen on TikTok, Soul Train's influence may be felt in all aspects of popular culture. The stars it produced, the trends it ignited, and the impression it gave Black culture around the globe are all testaments to the show's enduring impact. Those lucky enough to have been on Soul Train will always remember it fondly. There will always be a lingering sense of nostalgia for the show, the artists, and that time period. Soul Train was a blessing to society, according to one admirer, and its impact will last indefinitely. Fans will always remember how unique the show was since no other program was ever the same.